Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday morning. I'm meteorologist Jen Carfagno, and Vitas Rodriguez has the morning off. You know, we're just a week into December, and we are feeling that chill. We're going to look at where the Arctic air is headed next, but we start this morning in the Northeast, where it's cold enough to mix in some snow. This afternoon, things clear out, and we will dry out. But we look at, right now, a couple of showers out here across Connecticut, Rhode Island, and it is rain in Hartford. You know, that's pretty much moving on out now. There is some snow, and saw that around Worcester. Most spots, it's a mix of rain and snow. It's fairly light, and we're not looking at any big accumulation happening here this morning. Temperatures are actually near the freezing mark or above in most spots. Boston, here you go, starting your morning with some rain out there. Up towards Burlington, this is where we do have temperatures cold enough to get some snow. It's very light, and it's very sort of sloppy and wet kind of snow for us this morning. Now, as we take a look at the radar and take it out through today, this morning we've got an active radar, but as we get into the afternoon, things will start to quiet down and dry up, and we'll get all this precip to move on out. The evening rush home should be much better, as you can see. But there's a sign of what's to come, the lake effect. That's the big story for Thursday into Friday into Saturday. And you sort of see signs of the winds moving over the lakes. That's what's to come in terms of snowfall and the big accumulations. What we're going to see through today will be fairly light, maybe 1 to 3 inches max, and really elevation. We'll see that here across the greens and whites in Vermont and New Hampshire. Boston, for us, it's a couple of rain showers, maybe a little drizzle this morning. But look at our temperatures. We're in the low 40s to start the day, and we're going to see it stay that way. Not a lot of budging of temperatures, but it's not going to be freezing, so we won't be looking at issues on the roadways. Burlington, for us, a couple of snowflakes this morning, and then we're going to see temperatures again steady, but for us, it's in the mid to upper 30s. So again, not a lot of accumulation coming. Western Minnesota, too. You're right in that mix. So here's what's happening right now. It's not just about the wind and the snow. It's about the wind and the temperatures. The wind chill factor is all of a sudden a big deal. We've got the feels like sub-zero. Sioux Falls, Bismarck, it feels like 17 below. It feels like 11 below in Sioux Falls. We've got Chicago feeling like 13 in Green Bay, 11, and it's going to get worse. Temperatures are going to keep tumbling, and so that's the big part of the problem. The wind stays pretty gusty. So big dip in our jet stream. We've got some very cold air from the Northwestern Territories up in Canada and even beyond. Arctic air, true Arctic air that is able to come south, and we are going to be looking for this cold air to stay put for a couple of days here. Temperatures like you haven't seen in at least a year, if not 2 years for some folks, like in Montana and in Colorado. We're going to see temperatures colder than we've seen in nearly 700 days. So Minneapolis, for us, the high today is 21. Chicago, the high today is 30. Bismarck, 7 is our high temperature. That's it for today. And that doesn't factor in the wind chill. It will feel even colder. Bismarck tomorrow, 4. That's our high temperature. Rapid City only 13. In Bismarck, you know, that 9 inches of snow you picked up yesterday, that's a factor in keeping you so cold. You got that refrigerator effect going. It's going to be a chilly day and overnight over the next couple of days. Kansas City, these are highs, only in the 20s. Chicago, and you know, I had to sort of double check these temperatures to make sure they are highs and not lows. That's how cold it's going to be. All right, let's talk about the wind chill. This is today, so it's going to feel below 0 in Fargo. It'll feel like 7 below. It'll feel like 3 in Minneapolis as you walk the dog this morning before you get the kids dressed for the bus stop. And speaking of getting them dressed, be ready for feels like near 0 up here in Minnesota, North Dakota, Chicago, single digits. That's what it will feel like for the morning. We're going to go coast to coast right now with our weather headlines and tragedy in to get some big lake effect snowfall. So here's the pattern. Dip in our jet stream, cyclonic flow around our low. So we're going to get some cold air, very cold air moving in over the lakes. And these lakes, by the way, are very warm. Water temperatures in the Great Lakes in the upper 40s, the warmest they've been at this point in the season in about the last 5 years. So that's going to be significant. You have a lot of instability that gets created when you have really cold air above air that's warm right over warm lakes. So that's going to create instability. It's kind of like thunder, shower, snow, right? And don't be surprised if you hear some rumbles of thunder out there and see some lightning with these lake effect snow bands. So the longer the air can spend over the Great Lakes, you'll pick up more moisture, and the lake effect snow will pile up even more. So we'll get some of those bands coming in over Superior and Michigan to south of Traverse City. That could add up near Kalamazoo. That could add up. We're also going to watch for a fetch of right here to south of the Buffalo area. You know, the south towns at Jamestown and let's see, Dunkirk. You guys will pile up with some snowfall, and certainly in the Tug Hill Plateau, we also will be getting some significant snow. It could be on the order of feet, multiple feet of snow. So we're going to be watching that in the days to come. come. Let's take it into the weekend in view, because actually the lake effect snow will still be a story getting into the weekend. Today, we've got what's left of that little system moving through the northeast and moving on out. It's a no big deal kind of precip event this morning. We've got our western system, and this is a huge deal. This is going to bring very strong winds to Seattle, to Portland. We could see winds in Portland, Oregon from the east gusting anywhere from 30 to 40 or maybe even up to 50 miles an hour. And that's going to be a cold wind as well. We're going to see Seattle with some rain. Portland will have to watch a precip type as well. Rain spreading down the west coast. That becomes our weather maker for the weekend. That starts to move in, and we see snowfall back into North and South Dakota, into Minnesota, maybe even into Chicago. By the way, the chill stays around right through the weekend. Temperatures are going to stay below average in a lot of spots. Fargo only in the single digits. Chicago only 32 degrees. Wait to see next week's temperatures too. They're even colder. Coming up, we've got to check on the roads when Amy going on in the upper Midwest too. We'll get to that. Snow still swirling around in a minute. But let me show you what's happening. The radar looks pretty busy out here in the northeast, right? But you also see the direction that it's moving out. So it will be getting out of here before the end of the day. But for now, we've got some snow in Worcester, Massachusetts. New Haven, we've had a little bit of everything. You just had a few snowflakes mixing in with your, maybe even some sleet mixing with your rain. But it's mainly rain there. Hartford, the rain that we had has ended. Providence, we're getting rain right now. Boston, it's 40 and raining. But there is some snow in your commute coming in this morning from New Hampshire or Western Mass. So be careful out there on the Mass Pike. Now, we have snow and 32 degrees in Burlington. That's where, of course, it's cold enough to accumulate. We could get another inch or so of snowfall there. You see what happens, though, through today. Things kind of go poof into the afternoon, moving out, and we dry out. And we're looking for much better conditions for the commute home than you have this morning. We look at how much snowfall. It's mainly an elevation event where you could get a couple of inches. Everyone else, it's barely anything. I mean, even in Worcester, you're pretty much done there. Picked up some light snow overnight. Burlington, we're pretty much done. We can maybe pick up another inch or so in a few spots. Boston, for us, it's all rain. Our temperatures are near 40 this morning, and we're going to stay there, but we're not going to move. Temperature-wise, look at this. Low 40s all day. A very raw and damp kind of day, even after the precip ends. Burlington, Vermont, the snow we have this morning is about over, and then we pretty much stay where we are temperature-wise as well. All right, let's go. Even if snow isn't falling, snow just has to be reducing, blowing snow has to be reducing visibility to less than a quarter of a mile with winds over 35 miles per hour or greater for 3 hours. So that's been happening in Fargo. The other story is the wind chill. So the wind is blowing. The temperatures are getting colder by the minute. We've got a temperature of 16 degrees right now with that wind at 25 miles per hour, making it feel like 3 below. 30 minutes outside if you're not covered up, and you could be looking at frostbite. That wind chill chart is going to be very useful in the coming days. And next week, too, by the way, there's another round of even colder air coming in next week, so get ready for that. Today, we are looking at a high temperature in Bismarck at 7. That nice big snowpack we got of about 9 inches, that's going to help keep us cold and chill. And tomorrow, only 4 for high in Bismarck. Minneapolis will be in the 20s. Look at Friday morning. Minneapolis teens, we got 12 for you. Bismarck, we've got 13 below. Rapid City, 1 below. And again, that snowpack there, that pretty deep snowpack, is going to be an issue. All right, let's take you coast to coast right now and check in on your Wednesday morning weather headlines.